Okay, in this tutorial, what we are going to do is we're going to take a image of a girl that we just I found it on Shutterstock or online somewhere. Basically, I just wanted some really cool features. She's got a nice big smile and these bubbly eyes. I thought it'd be cool to show you how to use the liquefy and the warp tools and a few other tools that they're really cool in making these cartoon effects. And at the same time, this also works if you're doing the animals. I know you've seen them that have like the really big eyes. Like this is going to be for the same effect. You just take this image and you can make this with the bigger head and etc. etc. Let's see. So this isn't a super long tutorial, but it does have some really cool tricks that you can use not only here but on a lot of different tutorials. I'm going to show you how to use a smoothing brush, and we're going to kind of get it to pop and look like it's more of an animated character versus real life. All right, let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is your background is locked always, so let's make a copy of it so that we can do something with it. And then I like to just turn that background off and save it in case I need it again. So now we have this one here that we're going to work with. This was my group that I had created earlier, so we'll go ahead and get rid of that. Now, so we're going to take her, we're going to pretend that the background's not there because we're just not using that. This has taken over for that. Let's go ahead and rename it. Let's name this one Real Girl. Okay, and let's go ahead and duplicate that. You're just going to drag it down to this little icon here, which will make a brand new layer. So we have two of the same. Let's take the Real Girl copy and leave her there, but let's put her down below. You didn't see anything happen, but now she's down here. Let's go ahead and take the Real Girl and let's move her over. And right about there. And that's going to be our Real Girl. Now we're going to go back down to Real Girl copy, and let's just name her character. That way we know which one, each one is. Now let's go back to the Real Girl layer. And normally I'll use a mask, but for this one it's going to be quick because we know we're just going to reveal what's underneath here so that we can see both girls. Alright. Now that one's pretty much going to stay as the Real Girl. I really don't want to touch that one anymore, so I'm going to lock it, and that prevents me from doing anything to it. So now for the character, the fun stuff. The first thing that we'll do is we will take her face and we'll make the big eyes and the big proportions, and we'll make a smaller sunken in cheeks, square off the chin a little bit, and just make it kind of look more drawn instead of like so real. So to do that, we are going to use our liquefy tool, and you just go to filter and liquefy. Make sure that you are on the layer character, and your liquefy tool is going to pop up over here in the left hand side. What you're going to do is you are going to use the bloat tool because you want to make things bigger. Let's actually use the magnifying glass, and let's zoom in so we can actually see what we're doing. Go back to the bloat tool, and over here on the size, let's use like I like to get it right around where the eye, around the whole eye socket. So I pretend that it's actually like a skull inside there. And I'm just using my bracket keys on the keyboard to go bigger or smaller. And I'm going to say that about 300 is where Let's go 250. 250 is where I want to be. So 250 right there. Density, let's turn it down to about 40. And we'll keep the rate at 80. Pressure, just leave it alone. All right, and all you're going to do is just, if you press too hard, it's just going to start growing and it's going to look weird. So what I like to do is I like to just do little taps around the eye and just kind of get it to bloat a little bit. And then do the same over here, just to bug them out a little bit. Now let's make the brush a little bit bigger. Let's go to like 350 and let's tap right in the middle to make that bulge. And let's press down, a couple taps, and just get those nice and big. So now what we want to do is we want to actually go up here to the forward warp tool, which is the little pointer right here. And we'll leave this at 50 and 175. And what we're going to do, actually we're going to make that bigger. Get a bigger brush so that if you use a smaller brush like this and you start to do it, it's just going to make weird lines like that. So, and to undo that, I'm using Command Z. So I like to use a bigger brush because what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to make just make it look a little bit elongated. So the way you want to do this here is you just want to grab little bits and pieces. You don't want to grab a lot and pull at one time. It's just small little movements. And we just want to kind of make that more bigger. I guess is the word I'm looking for. And you can already see it's kind of already starting to look a little bit more animated. So make a smaller brush here, grab the bottom of the eye, pull that down just a little bit, pull that down just a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's go back to the bloat tool. Let's bloat it a little bit more and a little bit more. And that should be good. All right. Now I like to go to the pucker tool because we're going to make her nose a little bit smaller to make it look like it's a little bit more drawn. So let's go to the density and let's do about 40. And let's make our brush about 200. And we just want to do light little taps until it starts to shrink. And you're just tapping throughout the nose, keeping it smaller and smaller. All right, and then let's go back to our forward warp tool. Let's make a smaller little brush, and let's make the density on this one be around 30. All right, and let's push this up a little bit. And let's push this little guy up a little bit. And then her whole nose, let's push like this a little bit, making sure that we keep those even. Let's just push that in just a little bit more. There we go. That looks more animated, I guess. That was too big. There we go. All right. Now, let's see here. What we'll do is we'll work on the mouth proportions. So we want to pucker that a little bit. We'll use the pucker tool. And we'll grab a nice big brush and let's pucker the whole entire mouth. And just kind of move the brush around in a little circle and tap, just small little taps until it kind of starts to shrink a little bit. All right about there. And then I will make a smaller brush because I just want to concentrate on reducing how wide it is. So let's pucker that, pucker that. Okay, and now let's go back to the forward warp tool, and let's get a little bit bigger brush. We've got a density of 30, that's good. Let's go ahead and push this in, and we can push this one in on each of the corners, not too much, and then grab her cheek, and let's just barely it's subtle movements on this to keep it looking semi-believable. And then we'll do the same thing here. Actually, let's make a bigger brush because we want this whole entire thing to go in. And then let's grab the bottom of the neck. Don't worry about the hair, you're going to be redoing that in a little bit anyways. Let's move that in. Alright, let's grab a smaller brush. Now let's square up the chin, and the way I do that is I'll just push it up a little bit here, pull it down a little bit here, make a smaller brush, and let's just fix that one little area so it's more even. Let's push this one up just a tad, right about there. And one more. Alright, that looks more like I would have drawn that, you know, across that. So that's a little bit more what I'm looking for. Perfect. Now let's make the chin a little bit smaller, so grab your pucker tool and make a nice big brush, get right around the chin, and just small little taps. Small little taps. Smaller brush, small little taps. And that just made a small, nice little chin there. Let's bring in the neck a little bit, pucker that. The ear, let's do like an elf-like ear, so it's got a little point on the top, and we're going to pucker it. So let's put the density at 30, be a little bit more gentle with this one, and just light little taps until we start to see that it's shrinking, until you get it. This is a personal preference type thing, so just get it to where you like it. And then, so I want to focus more just on that earlobe, so I'm going to go smaller with the brush size and just take care of that. Make it a little bit bigger because I want to concentrate more on the entire ear. Alright, I think we've got that pretty good. Let's use the forward warping tool again. And let's make a bigger brush, and where this just kind of got weird, let's just push it in a little bit. There we go. Okay. I still want it to be a little bit smaller, so let's push it. Let's take the whole entire thing right here, and let's start out here. Don't start with it directly in the middle, because if we start directly in the middle, it's going to move the whole thing. So let's go out here a little bit and just push it in like that. Smaller brush, let's just push this up like that. Perfect. Alright. Now we want this to be elf-like, so let's keep it on where we are here. Let's go to the density and let's do 50. And then let's do a smaller brush just to grab the tip there. And just grab it and slowly pull. And then push it in just a little bit. And then grab it at the top. Let's push it in. There we go. And let's grab the whole thing one more time. Let's make a bigger brush. Grab the whole thing, pull it up just a little bit. And let's push it in so we get to a point. And you just keep working with it until you get what you like. You know. think that's pretty good right there. And this middle part of her ear is still a little bit big, so let's go ahead and pucker that. We'll keep it at a 40 density up here, and we'll just get right in there. Oop, I'm on bloat. My bad. Let's go pucker. And we'll put it on 40. And let's just get right on that. There we go. There we go. That looks more, I guess, elfy. Okay, let's still work on the mouth here. So we want to kind of just form it a little bit with the forward warping tool. And I want to bring the edges down so it's more like I drew it. Like that. So you're just kind of accentuating her little lips. More of a Betty Boop, I guess, type thing, where these are really puckered on the edge. Yeah, that's good. And then we'll just bring that line over so it doesn't look so dramatic, like we moved stuff. This one as well. And let's make a big brush. And let's move the whole entire, let's grab like right around where the circle hits right below her nose. Let's just push it up just a little bit, like that. And let's push this edge in just a little bit more, like that. And a smaller brush, and one more time right there, just a little bit. A little bit larger brush, push the whole ear. There we go. Cool. Yeah, I like it. Let's see, let's see what we got so far. Yeah. All right, let's move this chin up a little bit. Smaller brush, we'll keep it at a 50. And we're just gonna grab those little areas right there and push them in. There we go. So let's see. I want her hair to be a little bit more exaggerated, and I also want her head to be a little bit bigger. So let's go ahead and keep it on this, the same density and pressure. Make a nice big brush. I like to grab like half of her face and start to pull. And then I'll grab half of her face over here and start to pull. Maybe something like that. And then I'll grab the top itself and pull just a little bit. All right. Let's push this in just a tad, skinny that up. There we go. Okay, so I kind of like that. Let's take her nose and let's see if we move it around a little bit. We'll keep the density at 50 and yeah, that's what it was. And we're just kind of shaping it a little bit smaller. There we go. Cool. And then let's take the whole entire mouth and let's push that out just a little bit. Not too much because that's going to look fake. Just a little bit and just a little bit on those edges. There we go. Alright. I like that. Okay. So let's bloat her eyes a little bit more. And we'll get a bigger brush and we'll just like around the eye socket, tap, 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 like that. Let's zoom in here on the lips, and let's take just a little bit and push them in just a tad. That. Let's put this one up just a tad. Do the same here. Then take that middle and drop it just a little bit. Alright, let's zoom back out. Oh yeah, this is going to look good. Okay, so I'm good with that for now. Let's go ahead and hit OK. And we just really want the head on this layer. So what we'll do, I mean, we're going to keep the body too, but let's just really quickly use the lasso and grab all the way down with her arms. Let's grab her shoulders here. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hold down Shift and grab some of this area too, just so I have her shoulders as well. All right. Now, let's hit Command C on your keyboard, and then Shift Command V on your keyboard. And what that will do is that will make a new layer and paste it exactly into place. So if you turn off the back, you can see that we just have the head now. And we're going to keep this layer on, but we are going to work on this layer. Let's name it head. And that way we know. Okay, so where it says character, let's name that body. Character. And then we will zoom out a little bit. Now let's hit Command T on the keyboard while we're on the body character. That's going to bring up our free transform tool. And I'm going to hold down Shift to keep everything in proportion, and I'm just going to shrink her body. Let's bring it over. We just want her to be a little kind of tinier. Let's see. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. Hit apply. And now let's grab the head. And let's bring it down. Let's try to match it up right on the, kind of close to where it would be with shadows and where it would fall. Okay. Now we're close here, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the warp tool, and we are going to make sure you're on that. We're going to go edit, transform, warp. And now you're just going to take and grab and press and move and try to get those little edges, get her. You don't want to do it too much. See what happened here? We messed up her face. So what we want to do is we just want to grab some of these little edges here, like this, and kind of get it to come in. And let's kind of get this to come in. And that way it won't mess her up. And we can still kind of work with this. And then let's just grab this little edge here, pull it in. And this one right here, and let's pull it in, and you can see it's just kind of by eye. Alright, that's close. So we'll move it over here like this. Yeah. Alright. And I would say let's kind of bring this up a little bit, and let's bring this one So we just warped it a little bit and kind of made it get closer to where we want it. So we are going to click and apply that. And now let's take our, let's see here, what do we want to do? We want to go to our, well, you know what, let's get what we need and what we don't need. So we'll zoom in a little bit. Let's go ahead and get rid of some of the stuff here. And this is kind of a trial and error thing, so make sure you're on your head layer. Let's make a quick mask, which is right here. And now that's going to mask it. If you're painted on your mask, black and white is what you're going to use to paint to either remove or reveal that layer. If I paint black, she goes away. If I paint white, it comes back. So what I want to do is I just want to kind of see where I was underneath here and how close I can get her shoulder up here. Let's see. Let's just keep erasing, see what happens. Okay, let's undo that. We just want to feather in these edges and then we'll get them to fit better. You're going to want to get rid of her hand there, and let's pull in her regular hands so that they're tiny again. So you just want to erase all the way up to her hands. Not too much because you want to keep a small brush, and then that way you're not erasing up into what we're going to need. Let's just go around right here. Let's see where this brings us. Okay, you got her hands back in there. That's good. That's good. Getting it close. Doesn't have to be perfect yet because we're still going to do a lot of work on it. Let's see, what is this right here? That's your right hand. There we go. Let's make a little bit bigger brush now. And good with that part of the hands. So now we got to get this area and this area to kind of blend a little bit better. So we will go back to our warp tool, edit, transform, warp. And let's do this one more time. Just want to get it kind of close. Doesn't have to be perfect. And you're just pulling out little points to try to get it to match a little bit better. You can grab anywhere you want to try to do that, but you got to be aware that you don't mess up the other proportions. So this again is kind of a tricky process, and it's a trial and error. I usually like to just grab the little ends here because that seems to work the best without messing anything up. Okay, and that's kind of getting there. Now this area here will either fill with hair or we'll stretch the neck. Alright, so let's hit apply. And then I'm going to move this around just so I can see what's happening. What if I wanted it to go like this? Yeah. Let's just get it like kind of close here. And let's grab our smudge tool, which is right here, with a, let's see, let's get, it's about right there. Let's get about that size of a brush, and we're just going to go ahead and smudge this head down. a little bit. Oops. So what I was doing right there, guys, was I was actually still clicked on the layer mask. Make sure you're clicked on the actual thumbnail image. And now it will stretch, and that's what we wanted. And just, we're feathering it out because we're going to get it behind there. So let's go ahead and just really a little bit. And we can probably do that. Nope. Alright, so that's going to be okay. We've got this little area on our hand here. Let's see what that is. Let's go back to our mask. That's probably where I messed up. Yep, and erase it. There we go. So we got this little area here. Let's go ahead and kind of get it taken care of now. Looks like we might be able to use most of her old shoulder. So let's go like this. I just actually want to see where the old one is. Let's see. Okay, so now we're going to keep this shoulder because I like it big. We are going to go back to our, let's see, warp tool. And we're going to go liquefy. So let's liquefy this one more time. And you're going to do, it's kind of a guessing game on this one. So filter, liquefy. So we just know that we need to get this edge in some. And like I said, you don't get to see the layer underneath. So let's make the brush a little bigger and let's just guess. And I think it would be like that. And maybe like that. And maybe like that. And let's see what that does. So let's hit OK. I brought it in some more. So let's do it one more time. Filter, liquefy, and let's go ahead and bring a smaller brush. Let's bring this little area in a little bit, this little area in a little bit, this little area in, and pull that guy out like that. So that should get us close. Yeah. Alright, now we're going to go back to our paintbrush. Let's click on the mask. That automatically brings the black and white up. And we just want to kind of erase some of this little area here to try to get those stripes to get close as we can to not looking like they're faked. Let's see. Right there might do it. That's good enough. Let's see. Well, it's kind of weird right there, huh? Let's go in with a smaller brush and let's see if we can't get more precise. Okay. That looks a little bit better. Cool. Yeah. Okay. And now what we want to do is we would like to kind of make this look a little bit more anime. So we're going to take, you're still on the head, let's click on the actual head itself. Let's go to the brush tool, hold it down, and let's go to the mixer brush tool. And the mixer brush, the wet about 27, load about 24, mix about 90%, flow about 79. And we're going to make a bigger brush. And you're going to hold down Alt or Option and just grab like this area here and press once. That's going to sample that color of skin. And then now what you can do is hold and press down and move back and forth. And when you do that, what's going to happen? Let's see here. Let me grab an area where you can see. It's going to smooth it to where it looks painted. So right here in these little wrinkles, see those little wrinkles? If I wanted those to go away, I would sample the area that's close to them, and then I would just simply start to paint, and you can see it smooth it away. I'll sample down here, and then just kind of run over it. And see how that's kind of smoothing it to where you're going to get more of a painted look. Let's smooth that out. Let's smooth that out. You don't want to go too harsh on this. You just want to kind of smooth it a little bit so it looks like I airbrushed it, or an anime guy would have done that. And up here, let's sample and paint. And that's too much, so let's undo that. Let's sample a brighter area, make a bigger brush. And let's just lightly, just one or two little, there we go. All right. Much better. All right. Now, let's take the body and let's go filter. You're on the body character here. Let's go filter to liquefy that. And you want to be on the forward warp. Make a bigger brush, and let's grab the whole entire hip area here, and let's just bring that in. And then let's bring this whole hip area in, just to kind of make it look no way, you know. So, right about there. And let's grab this too. Let's bring it in a little bit. Let's bring that in. Is it okay? Wonderful. So, we got this little area right here that we need to get to fit better, and we will click back on the head, and let's go to, let's liquefy that one more time instead of warp, because I can do it quicker. Let's go one or two taps. All right, and let's bring that in like that, and bring that in like that, and that arm should be good. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. Now we got a little bit more masking, so let's go back to our paintbrush tool. Click on the actual mask itself right here. That made the colors go to black and white again, so we're going to leave it on black because we want to get rid of erase. And let's just keep that white stripe just like that. There we go. Now, let's zoom in here on the face. And some weirdness going on right here. So let's go to our mask. Let's just paint that out. And let's make sure that white stripe is visible so it's more believable. There we go. Let's take the smudge tool and let's just smudge it just a tad right. Cool. Now, let's take all right, so let's take and make the eyes look like they're more colored. So we'll take a new layer. We will grab, I don't know, let's do like a green. And like a mid-green, like right about there. And we're going to try two different things with the blending mode. Let's go first with overlay. Anytime I'm painting with color, I usually like to use an overlay. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can see. Let's smaller brush. Let's just get that in there like that. And let's paint this one. Okay. That's a little bit bold, so let's try color and see what happens. Okay, it lightened it even more, so I like to overlay better. So we'll leave overlay and we'll just reduce the opacity here to right around 65. That looks good. Let's go down to like 55. Yeah, I like it. Okay, so Disney or cartoon characters, usually unless it's Ren and Stimpy, aren't going to have bloodshot eyes. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And the way we're going to do that is we are going to, let's name this. This layer here is what we use for the color for her eyes. So let's just name that eye color so we can keep track. Okay, so that's eye color. Above the eye color, let's go ahead and make a new layer. And this one, we are going to grab some white and let's paint with some soft light blending mode overlay. So and we'll just paint that like that. And we'll paint that like that. And let's turn the opacity on that one down to about 70%, 71. And let's go, let's see here. All right. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so let's do some dodge and burn. So I'm happy with the way that the character is. I will take the body character and the head and I'll select both of them. I'm holding down command and clicking on each one to select them. The eye color and this last little layer here, which was the whites of the eyes. I'll grab all of those together and I'm going to hit Command E on my keyboard and that's going to merge them into one layer. So now I just have my girl as one layer. All right, now we still have a white background in here because I'm just working on the white background. Eventually, obviously, if you wanted to, put this in another background in another scene or something like that, you would have to select her out or multiply the background out or, something to get that to happen. That's in a totally different tutorial I have with how to cut objects out the proper way using the pen tool. I mean, Photoshop has this new select subject thing, and I mean, it's for all intents and purposes, it's great to get a really quick starting point. but it does have some flaws. You'll never get a perfect edge. The pen tool will always be your best friend when you're cutting out an image like that. But that's a totally different tutorial. In this one, we'll just leave the background white. So let's see, what I want to do now is I want to shrink her down a little bit and flatten her. So let's just, it's okay that the proportions are out. There we go. We want her to look not so perfect. There it is. And let's hit apply. All right, I like that. And then let's go, what do we want to do now? Let's dodge and burn. So we've got our cartoon character, so it's character layer, let's name that. And then right above it, let's make a new layer. And you're going to control click on that layer, and that's going to bring up this, and you're going to make it a clipping mask. That's going to make anything that you paint will only paint on the area of whatever's on this layer, and that means that it's going to be the white too. I do this now because I want you to get used to doing that, so when she is a selection or she is cut out and you need to do this, it will only affect those areas. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring out the shadows and stuff on this layer. You always want to use black and white when you're doing this for dodging and burning. So let's see, we'll grab a paintbrush. I usually like to use about a 20% opacity, somewhere around there. Let's do 25. See what happens. We go down here and we are going to paint dark in the shadows. And you'll see that that just is going to bring out those shadows a little bit more. I want to darken here. And see, that's a little dark, so what we'll do is we'll go up and now we'll make this more like a 14. That's good. That's good. Let's make a bigger brush and let's darken down in here. And let's darken. So that just created a little shadow under her chin. Let's darken the fingers there. Oops, not that much. Soft light. Let's make sure that it's on soft light. That's what I said before. And just keep going over it until you get that desired effect. Okay. All of the shadowed areas, you just want to go over once or twice here, and you can see that that's just kind of giving it that pop that we want. Let's go right below the lips here. Get a little bit bigger brush. We'll go right inside the eye right there. Inside the eye right there. Around her eyelashes there. Eyebrows, I mean. Inside the nose. Around all the hair here like this. And you see it's just giving it a little bit of a shadow. Doing the ear there. Back here. And then I like to go a little bit more, and then in the darker areas of the hair I'll hit like some areas to make it pop. Okay, and now let's switch to the white brush. Now we're going to do all the lights. So we want to make a new layer, control, click, create a clipping mask, even though on this one it doesn't matter because we're not going on the edges. That's a habit of mine. We're going to change it to soft light. We're painting with white, and let's do it at about 17%. Let's go right on the bridge of the nose a couple of times. So that's just bringing it out a little bit. Let's make a bigger brush and let's dab those cheeks a little bit. Dab that cheek. Let's dab the chin there. There we go. Up here on the forehead a little bit. Brighten that up. Maybe 1 or twice in the eyes there. Yeah, I like it. Let's go around the ear there. On the bottom here. Now we darkened this area here, so let's lighten the top of it. Let's lighten the top of it. There we go. Let's give this a little bit of boost. Alright, now let's take about a 26% opacity and just start highlighting some of the hair here. Cool. Let's give a little bit of a red tint to her hair too. So let's do one more layer, control click, clipping mask it, even though you don't need to because we got the white. I know, but it's a habit. And let's do overlay. And let's pick like I don't know, pick like an orangey color. And let's just kind of like, with really low opacity, maybe like 11. Let's start dabbing in some color. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and let's zoom out here. Yeah, that's cool. And now let's take, and this is a really, so if it was drawn, it would have sharper lines, sharper than they are now. So we want to kind of give it that effect. And so what we're going to do is all of these that we've done here, these additional layers on top here, let's go ahead and grab all of those. Command click each one, and we'll go Command E, and that all becomes one layer. Now what we want to do is we want to sharpen all of the lines, the outer lines, the darker lines. So the way I like to do that is I like to go, I like to make a copy of it, and that copy, I go to Filter, we go to Other, we go to High Pass. What you're going to do is you're just going to adjust it to where you can see, you know, how the darker, the more you see here in this little gray area that comes through, the crazier that line's going to be that happens on it. I usually like to stay like right around, 4 to 7. We'll do like 7.6 on this one, see what happens. Hit OK, and then you're going to change that layer to an overlay blending mode, and you can see, we'll zoom in here, what that does. See how much more sharper she is than this one? So you can turn it off and you can see what that's doing. See the difference? It's just a subtle way to sharpen up the image. And I think that really looks good. And now let's go down here and I'll add a layer and just put some white so that it's all white in the background. I will grab the eyedropper tool so I can sample that exact color. And let's just drop it back there. And now you can see we got this little edge right here on her. So we'll just grab that, which is here. And we'll go ahead and erase a nice feathered brush and then just kind of blend right in. All right. And I like to just on my, see here's the real girl, so we don't want to touch her, but underneath, you know, we could put like a, if you click here, we could do like a, let's do a hue and saturation. And let's see what happens when we hue her out a little bit. Maybe she's a little bit more red and desaturated a little bit. And then let's do one more. And let's do a color balance. Let's take the midtones. Let's put a little bit more red in there. And a little bit more yellow. All right. I mean, I think that's about good. You know, this area here, we could definitely feather this in a little bit more, but I mean, it follows the curves, it follows the wrinkles. For all intents and purposes, I think it's not bad. Could have spent a little bit more time on it and made it a little bit more feathered, but I just wanted you to get used to the tools and kind of experience being able to manipulate the photo. We really went overboard on this, but a lot of the times that liquify, that can be used to, you know, take a model and take 30 pounds off of her, you know, in a few clicks. A lot of the times you can get images that aren't perfectly fitting. You can get them to fit using these techniques as well. So this is really fun. And again, like I said, you can take these with pets and animals, and you can just really have some fun and make some really cartoony character style designs. So I thought that would be a really fun tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it.